Hey guys, welcome back to Own Your Own Freedom. Like I've said, I am I guess you would call in this community, a narcissistic abuse survivor. And I choose, as I hope all of you would choose with me, every day to own your past, seize your present, and heal for your future. This channel is for you. It's for healers, empaths, highly sensitive people, codependents, other survivors, whatever your stage of self-realization is, and for anyone else who refuses to be held back by anyone else, any idea, any collective thought any longer. In this video, I wanted to talk about, this is the second part of my series on the spiritual narcissist. I realize this is a benign sort of description of, what a covert narcissist could be in a spiritual, religious, context, because they could do much worse than what I saw from my narcissist. I thank God he was just a covert egotist, that he wasn't like hurting people or trying to, gain total control of the whole church. Thank God that wasn't the case. I do know that he would sort of, whenever one of the because we have like Bible studies in some houses, and I know that there was one house that he attends every Friday, and when the pastor that usually guides that Bible study is not there, for say he's traveling for several weeks, my ex, this narcissist, would pretty much dominate the whole discussion, and sort of lead as if he's like this great teacher, asking questions as if he knows something other people don't, and all these different things. He just would, it's all, esteem himself. But anyway, he, in promoting his false self, and all the things I described in the previous video, he does all of this with the goal to protect the true self. The goal is to supply the false self by protecting the true self. He didn't want anyone to really, as no narcissists do, they don't want people to see them as they really are. They don't want to have to acknowledge who they really are. So they need to do things to sort of self-medicate. Meaning constantly fuel this false self by telling lies about themselves and then making sure other people believe it so that they can continue on thinking that they are perfect and without any flaws, and so that they can live a normal life. It's part of the reason why I don't take it personally that he used me in this relationship, because I realized, he has to do that. He has no other way of coping. He has to, for an example, he has to smear me. I realized that there are some people who, while we were together, and we sort of were together in a secret way, as I believe we, when you're in a church setting, and if people know your face and know your name like they do me and they do him, it's important to sort of date, or court sort of secretly, not secretly, but just privately. But there were some people that should have never known that we were together, and they knew, and they were responding to me in a way that was just not appropriate. And I knew from the beginning, though I didn't say anything to him, that he had been talking about me and lying about me, because, the way they were treating me was not any way that I deserve, because I never did anything to him. I treated him with the utmost respect, as I do everyone. But he has to smear me. He has to make sure that he comes out on top, because, he's not able to, be introspective or to look at himself, because if he did, he would be disgusted by who he is. Just for an example, he has no friends. I didn't realize at the time, because, as narcissists do, they're constantly talking to people, going places, doing things, being involved with everybody and everybody's business. And he knows so much that it looks like from the outside looking in that they have friends, but they don't. They don't have lasting relationships or true, deep, meaningful connections, because they can't make them. But it just looks like they have friends. So they have to, if they can't acknowledge that they have true friends, so they have to pretend that they do. And they have to make everybody else believe that they do by knowing everybody else's business. That's why they ask so many questions. He had no ambition. He was very lazy. No ambition meaning, he would lie. Of course, he would lie about promotions, lie about who he was, lie about what he was doing, how many hours he was working, things like that. And yeah, he's so proud of himself that he is a computer programmer. But in the country that I'm staying in France, I mean, it's a dime a dozen computer programmers. I mean, in the United States, of course, yeah, but they get paid much better in the States. Here, they don't get paid very much at all here. And that's, it's not a bad thing. It's just everybody can learn to program now. He is a programmer, and he likes to, say that he's a consultant or that he's like a financial consultant and stuff like that. And he has clients, and I'm like, now I don't believe a word he says. I don't really know specifically what he actually does. I just know that I don't believe a damn word he says. Forgive my language. But he had no ambition, meaning he was going nowhere. He's been in that job for several years. No promotion. I don't believe he has any promotions. I don't know. He doesn't really do much. And when he works from home, he's literally glued to the screen. He has no ambition. He's very lazy. That's why he has, like I said in the previous video, that he has some sisters in the church to cook for him, because he's lazy. And he eats terribly. So he, in his inability to cook for himself, and provide for himself, and take care of himself, and do things for himself, be an independent and self-reliant person, because he's unable to do that or be that, he has to require other people to do things for him by lying to them and telling them that, oh, I'm just so busy, I can't cook, I'm always working, and so sisters would come and bring food for him for the next week. And it's hilarious how he cons them. Also that he has because he has no inner life, he has no real spiritual roots or connection. Imagine that, being in a Christian or religious or spiritual environment and not having a genuine spiritual connection to God. Like, imagine that. A lot of people, they say that they're saved and they're not, but this guy literally can't even, whenever he would call me in the morning and ask me to pray with him and everything, he would just repeat whatever I said back to me. And I'm just like, praying with myself. You're mirroring to me what I am. I'm praying with myself. And it was very draining, because I'm like, I get nothing from you. You're just an empty, dead human being. So no spiritual connection, and they don't want anybody to know that. So they exaggerate themselves, and they pray loudly, and they pray big prayers, and they quote the Bible and all these different things to make them look like they have something they don't. He also has no talents, which is really unfortunate, because he claims that he does. He's very good at I assume he's a good computer programmer, because he's been working in the same job for several years. But other than that, he has no talents. Talents come from realizing yourself and capitalizing on and practicing and working and investing in yourself to capitalize on something that you are good at innately, But he doesn't have that, because he has no self-realization, which is really sad. Those are just some of the things that I see in him from the short time that we were together. If you call that being together, because that was, like I said, a sham of a relationship. But the reason why he had to promote himself so much is because, and the reason why he had to be available for everybody and pretend like he was such an upright human being is because he had none of that. He has no. I believe, based on some of the things that I've seen in his apartment, I believe he's even addicted to porn. Imagine that being in sort of like in the in circle with some of the, elders and deacons and pastors and responsible people in the church, and not having any spiritual connection, not having any talents, being lazy and having no ambitions, and being addicted to porn, having no friends. Imagine that. Imagine what that's like, having to constantly prove yourself to people who literally are everything that you're not. Because I mean, in a genuine sense, these guys are everything he's not. So thankfully he's not some sick maniac, at least not now. He's getting a lot of supply from the church, but thankfully he's not some sick maniac trying to, throw out the elders and things. But this guy is sick. Emotionally, spiritually, psychologically sick. He's broken. So let me know what you think in the comments, because I mean, have you ever had this experience with someone, a spiritual narcissist, where they are narcissistic in a spiritual environment? And what do they look like? What is your experience like? Because I know that they all come in different flavors, like ice cream, So, and then subscribe to my channel, because this is a community, and I feel like the more we talk about these things, the stronger we get against all the other narcissistic people out in the world. Because there's a limitless amount of perspectives on this topic. And then also share it with someone you feel can relate. Yeah? And I'll see you on the next video.